Welcome to Iceland. My name is Gylfi, and I will be your brutally honest guide while we explore the village Hrafnagil, which is located just a few kilometers south of Akureyri, the capital of North Iceland. And although this is a small and young town, when it comes to tourism, it pulled off what might be the coolest marketing gig ever here in my country. So welcome to Hrafnagil, where we celebrate Christmas every day of the year. The town's name Hrafnagil means Raven Canyon, and the village is the home of a little under 400 people. And things have been happening so fast around here that the first version of this video became outdated within 3 years. But many of the clips I shot back then were very useful now due to the changes. Like this clip, I shot it shortly after the building boom started. And it has a little bit of historical value already, since this same angle looked like this the summer of 2024. But why this success here? This is not even a fishing town, and many of our fishing towns are fighting population decline, like actually towns are dealing with all over the world, because the young people want a diverse labor market. And there is no one particular reason for the success around here. The biggest factor might be the location, as we are only 10 minutes away from Akureyri, where we find the most advanced infrastructure in Iceland outside the capital area, and it helps this village that the road between Akureyri and Hrafnagil is excellent. It even has a paved pedestrian and bicycle road beside it, so Hrafnagil is in a way like a quiet suburb of Akureyri. And strangely enough, the village Hrafnagil was never designed as an urban area. This started all with a district school for this municipality that consists of mainly farmers, and with the district school there came a swimming pool and sport facilities, and this was also the home of the social center. And the original choice of location for the school, it has of course to do with underground hot water resources, not just for the swimming pool but also to heat up the houses there. And despite no obvious plan as for population growth, the village grew a bit from the infrastructure alone, and it soon became a quite popular tourist destination. And I'm talking about Icelandic travelers mainly. And if we would have asked an Icelander what Hrafnagil stands for like 30 years ago, the answer would have been the campsite and the swimming pool. But something happened that would change everything. The village Hrafnagil became a household name in my country. In addition to the worldwide attention this place has been getting, and it's all due to a retail store that literally took over the image of the entire village. And ever since, its image has been associated with Christmas rather than anything else. And all this due to a Christmas house, open all year round. They started out with a little shed and a simple but effective decoration idea. And at first there were of course voices saying, are you nuts? Christmas market all year round? But others were saying, why not? And although the main products are of course Christmas products, the selection includes Icelandic crafts, which always works for tourists, and of course sweets, that usually works for all of us, whatever season it is. And the people who made this happen, they did a wonderful job. And a big part of the job is to maintain this constant Christmas mood we feel there. And they even have a little outdoor toilet there, so there is humor involved as well. And the smiling guests are easy to find. So this simple and effective concept, it made it possible to keep this store open almost every day of the year. And it became such a hit that a new basement was dug under the first house because it was very small, and then they added another house there. So the weeks before Christmas we have a market square there as well. So this clever little company, it has provided many jobs for the community, of course, and lots of traffic. So by time it became clear that this old town form was not as good as it used to be, since the village had been growing around the highway. And it ultimately led to traffic hazards for children and of course a major planning obstacle, and the highway was simply moved and it runs now beside the river, so the old highway that used to run through the town is a clean sheet of paper. So this was a clever move, and the new road is also a part of a flood protection infrastructure, since rivers of this size, they come with all sorts of problems. And after they made this decision, the building plots started to come into the market, even before the new road. And they pulled another trick on the market there, because they sold often building plots at cost price. And the idea was, of course, to bring in new residents. And they pay, of course, property tax and income tax. So the municipality was thinking into the future. And I was filming in town the summer of 2024, the day when the new road opened. The contractor was actually still paving the road when I arrived, but the local administration, it was obvious that they could not hold back any longer to close the old road through the town. So this was a big day around here. And we can also say that this was the first day of the village as we will see it develop into the future. It's a big step for them. But to be brutally honest, Iceland is one of the most sparsely populated country in the world, with plenty of building land. But I don't see that fact get through the design around here. And it struck me as a bit odd how they got the idea to make the good old campsite literally a part of people's backyard. And I mean, of course, the new houses there. Because personally, living next door to caravans coming and going all day is not my idea of a peaceful countryside environment. So I was a bit surprised why they didn't show the first and only tourist attraction for decades a bit more respect and give the new houses a bit more privacy. But I also have to say that I don't know the whole story or how the town is planning tourism into the future. And due to the success of the Christmas concept, I would like to see them grow even more. And as we move deeper into the fjord, it gradually narrows until it becomes a kind of funnel for the water from the highlands. And this little creek will later become the mighty river that runs by Hrafnagil. And after the last kilometers that are quite rough up there, we find ourselves up on the highlands. But this is, however, just a detour this time. I wanted to mention this particular road because it's rough and by far the worst of the 3 available roads up to the so-called Sprengisandur Highland Road. And I will, of course, in future cover all those roads in depth. But this time I'm only going to say that if you are using a popular rental car model like the Duster, the people at the car rental, they will not show you any mercy when the repair invoice comes. And let's stick to the easier roads. The people in Akureyri, they often use the term the Eyjafjörður Circle, and it's a popular Sunday tour. But there are, however, many versions available, and the circles are defined by bridges over the river. Like the short circle is a tour to Hrafnagil, where we use the bridge there to drive back. And the next river crossing is just 10 kilometers further south. And on the way, we had a chance to see one of Iceland's best preserved country churches by a farmhouse called Grund. And what makes this church special is the fact that it was built by the local farmer for his own money in 1905. And it was the largest such private project in Iceland. And what makes it even more special is this architecture that has this Russian feel to it, which is very special. And the church has been well maintained, so it still today remains as one of our most beautiful country churches. And as we drive a bit further south in the fjord, we find another remarkable church, the so-called Sörbær Church. It is one of the 6 third churches that still exist in Iceland. This one was built in 1858, and it is under the care of the National Museum of Iceland. And next door to the church, we have a specialty museum that not many people know of. It is called Smámunasafnið. That means the Museum of Small Things. And it started as a private hobby, just a man, a collector type of man, the hopeless version, and he started to collect everyday objects, and the collection grew and grew until it became so large and interesting that it became a formal museum just a few years ago. And the museum is now in this old social center, just by the Turf Church. And when I looked at the TripAdvisor, I found comments like eccentric, weird, and absolutely wonderful, midst in this throwaway culture we have now. And I think it was a good description. And we have the option to end the circle using a nearby bridge, but we can, however, take the trip further south and turn around by this lake. And there we have another natural pearl that is a bit under the radar when it comes to the tourism industry. It is a huge landslide from the end of the last ice age, and it is the only place in the region with a little native birds forest. So we are trying to protect it from blending with imported species. And this location is actually on my list as a separate video that I will hopefully do this summer of 2025. And as we are all the way there, deep in those valleys, we have only 2 options: do the highlands or turn back. And it's no need to stop at Hrafnagil again, because there is another road at the other side of the river that can take us all the way back to Akureyri. And as we drive the east bank of the river, we can also find nice churches on the way and several waterfalls as well. But some of the landscape there, as for photography, is more suitable for drones. But there is, however, no need for them because we will be driving by countless farmhouses. There are farm animals all around. And this area is known to be one of the best agriculture region in Iceland. And I never get bored doing this trip, whatever version I prefer to do. So although this is not the official Arctic Coastway or the official Ring Road, this still remains as one of the nicest country roads in Iceland. And as for Hrafnagil, it is a friendly village, and they have this unique chance now to turn back time as for the appearance of the village and develop it with almost a clean sheet of paper. And I am quite sure that they will make it as friendly and inviting as the nature around is. And as for other tour options in the fjord and around Akureyri, there are just so many of them. And I have other videos online that cover the towns north of Akureyri. There are quite many of them. And until my next town visit, feel free to use my affiliate and channel support links in the video description to help me to get this large project online, because it will by time cover all towns and all places of interest in my home country, Iceland.